to it, and then we can go back and forth. Hey, Amanda, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, Asher. Glad to be here.
For anyone who doesn't know you, who do you say you are?
Oh boy. Um, Depends on where I am and who I'm talking to. I'm a professionally. What I do is help small business owners design their business to kind of reduce the risk, and so it doesn't rely on them. And the bonus is that maybe they can do things like take vacations.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's my focus professionally, and that gets a lot of my attention. And then the rest of the time, I'm a reader, I'm an explorer. I get all down the little rabbit hole about getting excited about this or that. And that's me. That's a small picture.
Hey, that's pretty exciting. I think we aligned there, and it's funny how I was telling you just off of a chance meeting of the Aori Art of Real Estate in
Uh-huh.
Augusta at like 2018, 2019. Didn't think much of it going to a networking event like, hey, I'm interested in real estate. People are always talking
Yeah,
about it. You've got money in bricks, this, that, and the other. It'd be nice to own a house versus renting. It's like, still don't know, but I kind of made a little bit of peace about it. But like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
going from then, fast forward to 2025, moving back to Augusta, you moved away, but
Mm-hmm.
having your contact information and having a face to put with the contact, it's like, hey, I wonder what Amanda's up to. And then just kind of out of curiosity, reaching out and then you answering the call and say, sure, I'd like to do this, see
Sure.
what it's about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we all dabble into little things here and there.
Absolutely. Yep.
So how long have you been doing the like the small working with small business and mitigating risk? Because
Yeah.
that sounds like a whole lot of surprises just waiting for you.
All right, so I gotta give it some backstory because this is still fairly new.
Okay.
Um, I when you and I met, my day job was with a university,
Hmm.
and I've got a counseling degree, but I
Okay.
got to the end of that, and I'm like, I want to do more than just help people feel better. I want to like do something more concrete.
Hmm.
So I got into education, and I was doing consulting in higher education, like, okay, I are students actually learning what we say they need to know? Like, how do we measure all this stuff? Which turns out to be really useful when you're working with small business owners and you're trying to like figure out, okay, what exactly is it that we're trying to achieve here? Because it's usually squishier than just like a, a number.
Yeah.
Numbers are great, love numbers, but
Yeah.
we're trying for something bigger than that.
Hmm.
So I wanted to be able to work remotely, and this was pre-pandemic.
Hmm.
So I taught myself Salesforce, which is a CRM database. It's kind of the Coke of CRM databases. And then I was working as a Salesforce consultant. But what I was doing mostly was they would hire us, and the deal would be, okay, well, we hired you to help with our database, but it turns out we don't actually know what the heck we're doing. Like we we have this process, but it really is all in the head of like Mary. And if like Mary has her like little like color coded something or other, and it's,
Hmm.
if something happens, we're in deep to-do, right? So it's a matter of so what I really loved doing was helping people like really figure out what it is that they're doing, what it is that makes them unique, and then like, let's like customize to that
Hmm.
rather than like create some Frankenstein monster of a database for you, and then, you're still stuck. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's why I took the transition I did to say, I would really love to work with small business owners and help them do this sort of thing.
Nice. Are
Yeah.
are you familiar with like the Myers-Briggs disc assessment, all those different types of things?
Yeah, I'm certified in one of those suckers. Why does it come to mind?
Gotcha. Because in the pursuit of real estate, like I was telling you, it didn't work out 2019
Uh-huh.
January, and then soon after looking at December of 2019, that was one of the things where I was like, okay, hey, I took this test. Like initially, I took it for my first job where it's like you
Uh-huh.
do the whole week training, this whole thing, like corporate job, 40,000 plus employees. They have like a standard thing, but
Hmm.
it really wasn't clear then. But then when I took the disc assessment 2019 through like the ETA, um, Eric Thomas and Associates,
Hmm.
having a gentleman that passed, but one of the things that was kind of his legacy was basically doing something many other people have done, which is associate the letters of the disc with animals, where it's like for the
Uh-huh.
disc, it's you have the gorilla, the flamingo, the turtle, or the chameleon and the turtle.
Uh-huh.
And it's like you can kind of see the characteristics there. The way that he explained it, I think a lot of people took it and ran with it. Some people maybe took it in the wrong direction. And I think something that I learned about the disc was like, okay, this is the how you behave. But then
Yeah.
seeing it like this beach ball that's on top of the water, and then someone else, I think it's maybe the same, either Intermetrics or another company that basically brought multiple tests together where it's like you've got the disk, you've got the values, and you've got the
Mhm.
attributes, where it's like it really anchors down to what is it that you value and what is your what, or like your why. Like how do you
Mhm.
see things internally versus externally, and kind of
Mhm.
being exposed to that and being able to see like, okay, you've got books like Triggers or 8 levels or 8 types of dis uh what is it, I'm forgetting all kind of book titles today, so you
Sure,
have to
sure.
bear with me. But basically being exposed to that on like the personal development side where you're reading a lot of self-help books, but
Uh-huh.
then to your point, getting to the practical side of it of like, okay, you have an assessment that basically tells you all this information.
Right.
You have to study the information to understand, okay, like this is how I am when I'm naturally doing this, when I'm
Hmm.
adapting. But then it's one thing to have head knowledge or book knowledge where
Right.
it made sense. I studied
Right.
for the test, I got it right, I got the degree. Now
Hmm.
I'm in the real world dealing with
Right.
real people that don't care about my pacing, my process. I'm a high S, high C. The first time I took it, I was reading every single definition because I'm like, I might be technically smart, but I don't know what any of these words mean. So I'm like,
Uh,
Google dictionary, what does this mean? What does
uh,
this mean? What does this mean? And I'm like, people from the outside looking in, they're like, oh, he's smart. He gets all good grades. And I'm like, I'm struggling to spell half of these words. And I'm sitting here, but something that I've kind of gotten comfortable with is getting over the having to be right. And then that's why I have to take my time because it's like some things are slower to get. But when I
hmm.
have my time to take it, I don't feel as rushed. And then I can kind of get something. But the people that are like the drivers, they're like, I need to know the facts. I don't need to know your soliloquy. The
Hmm.
flamingos are like, hey, like, let's have a good time, party. They
Right.
always dress fly. But then the other ones, they're like the support. They like to be in
Uh-huh.
the background, hence the civil
Uh-huh.
engineering type thing. And then,
Yep.
hey, we respect processes, procedures. Like, I like driving down the road on the right side. If I'm not passing anybody, I'll just stay over there in my right lane. If somebody comes up on me, I'm like, hey, you can go around or you can do whatever. Like I could cuss you out, this, that, and the other, but then it's just I look like the
Yeah.
idiot in the car, mad at myself. But
Yeah.
it's like seeing those things and seeing some of the values and thinking about like what you do, thinking
Uh-huh.
back to like, man, I really enjoyed psychology in high school
Hmm.
and just seeing like how that teacher, Mrs. Chenard, still remember her name, and her husband, they're like two of the best teachers. But seeing like how you take what you learn, like Miss Graby that I interviewed, and then being able to pivot it into business where it's like, maybe they're not going to pay me here. I don't see exactly how it's working, but
Yeah.
this person seems like they really need my help, and they really need my help, and they really need my help, and I can just round robin, give my skills everywhere. And
Yeah.
like you said, you get to do it remote.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big plus. Yeah, it's the folks who go into business,
Mhm.
and are really driven or like go for the entrepreneurship tend to be, I don't remember your animal thing, but tend to be the extroverted thinkers who are like,
Yep.
let's get it done. Um,
Your
I
D's
heard
and
one
your
person
I's.
say, I don't even care if I'm climbing the wrong mountain as long as I'm climbing a mountain. Like, as long as I'm going somewhere, that's what I really care about.
Yeah.
So, and that's lovely because it's exactly like 180 for me. So it's
Mm-hmm.
I bring like, okay, I hear you. We want to get this done. We want to get this done fast. Fastest way to get there is
Mm-hmm.
to is to slow down a little bit and bring the rest of your team with you.
Yeah. Like,
So,
I just want to go. We gotta go now. We gotta go
yeah,
now. And it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
if you don't do this, you're gonna be back here a year from now.
Yeah, the African proverb that I've heard and I love, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Hmm.
Yeah, so a matter of helping people figure out how they're going to go far
Yeah.
by, working with their team, with folks like you who are very analytical, who want to know all the details, who are all about taking care of people, like bringing you along and
Yeah.
all your strengths.
Because
Um,
sometimes it's like you just get, sorry. It's like the thing that made me laugh was like initially when I took the assessment, like I took it for work, didn't really understand it, took it
mhm,
in this case where everybody was excited about the animals, but it's like the let's say the gorillas and the flamingos, they're really good about teasing. The extroverts are really good about teasing introverts. And they're like,
uh-huh.
oh, you're a turtle. You're slow. You're boring. You don't have a personality. You're melatonin, or not melatonin.
Monotone.
You're monotone. Maybe that's my mind just being like, hey, you didn't sleep this week. You got to owe us later. But yes, I do follow what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's certainly part of it, and also recognizing that your business is a system.
Mm.
And so it's not like you can fix problem, fix problem, fix problem, and you can still not end up with what you want,
Yeah.
right? Because, it's not like if you optimize one part, that
Mhm.
makes everything else perfect, right?
Right, right.
You gotta like look at the whole picture in order to see it. Like, you know, a system like a body, like you can't just like build muscle without also like working on your lungs and also,
Mhm.
strengthening your heart and like, the bones are involved in there. And so you can't just focus in on one. Or if
Right.
you do try and just focus in on one thing without looking at the big picture,
Mhm.
you're gonna like, end up with a lot of people unhappy with you and you're not getting the result you want. So yeah, yeah.
That makes sense. Can you I guess we can go back maybe a little bit further. Tell me how is it that you grew up? Or where is it that you grew up?
Oh, okay. So, I grew up as a kid in a family of teachers and college people.
Mm.
So, we had a lot of international graduate students always around. I was used to being called Amanda and
Mm.
always interesting versions of my name, which was great. But um lovely multicultural kind of sense of the world and getting a sense that things are bigger than just this little small piece that I know.
Yeah.
And so I started out growing up in Minnesota of all
Mm.
places and spent a little time in Ohio
Cool.
before, ending up where you and I met.
Oh,
So
wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
How long did you spend in Minnesota?
I was there from birth to 12 and then 24 until I'm not sure I want to say one age I was when I
Gotcha.
left, but I was there as an adult too.
Nice.
Yeah, so
I, I
good
guess
people.
how do you compare it with like the Southeast? Because I spent maybe a year. It's funny how I can almost count it to the day just because I was associated with a training program, but it's about
Uh-huh.
a year and a half from like 2014 to 2015,
Uh-huh.
um, Labor Day weekend.
Yep. Okay. I don't know how deep in whatever you want to go, but I will say Just like the Southeast, the cities are very urban
Mm,
and very, progressive, open, looking, trying to, take care of everybody.
yeah,
And then you get out into rural area and you get into, um, a little more closed mindset, a little bit more like, this is the way we've always done it and it's good enough. And,
yeah,
you know, and folks coming in here telling us what to do, blah, blah, blah. I feel like you get the same thing, I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
both, all over the country. Um, on the dark side, Minneapolis has a pretty bad history of race relations, and
Mm.
so I,
I
recognize that's a
I
thing.
almost forgot about that
Yeah,
until girlfriend's up there this weekend, and then she kind of reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, that happened. It was like,
yeah, it's
whoops.
really it's tragic because there are a lot of people who are really have their heart in the right place, want to do well and do good for folks, and then you get a subset that just mm, create tragedies, and
Yeah,
it's really tough. It's really tough.
gotcha. I guess so from the time you grew up there from 12, you were able to move away from Minnesota and then move back?
Yeah, so my dad got a job at Ohio State, so we moved
Mm,
from University of Minnesota to Ohio State, and
gotcha.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And I
I
moved
guess
back
what
as an adult.
did you see things any differently in moving back? Like, especially like you saying you're preteen and then
Yeah,
you're all of a sudden in another place, you're growing up there, like your main life, this your high school friends, finishing up middle
yeah.
school, and then you go back and you're like, huh, things kind of look different from what I remember it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of assumptions that I grew up with as a little kid that I moved to Ohio. I'm like, oh, they don't believe the same things. Like
Mm,
I moved into a place where you weren't really accepted unless your family had been there for at least a generation. And it
mm,
was really a different world for me to figure out. Like,
yeah.
so um yeah.
I
Um
feel like my mom might get a kick out of this because we're originally from Cameroon and immigrated to the US. I came when I was 7, and at
uh-huh.
the time I think she's probably in her 40s, so like lived
Hmm.
most of her life in Cameroon and then coming to a new country. And like at least from Africa, third world nation type things, like people kind of glorify the US and it's like, "Oh wow, like they're perfect over here and they've got everything good." And then after the years you're like, "Oh, like they have the same problems. Like they're homeless people in America. Like people wouldn't almost not believe that. And it's like, oh wow, like you have like the roles are reversed where the people back then, from what I remember as a young kid that were overweight, it's like, oh, those were all the rich people. And then here it's flipped on its head because
Hmm.
the food is different and then the qualities
Hmm.
aren't the same. But then like one thing that I got from going away oh, just over a year in the Midwest and then coming back to North Georgia was like, oh, this is why I enjoy mountains. Like down in Louisiana where it's flat, like I
Uh-huh.
spent the better part of the year there between Texas, like did orientation there, went over to Lake Charles and then in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, like everything was just like flat, flat. And then driving from New Orleans area up to or just south, like Donaldsonville, St. James, just south of Baton Rouge, driving straight up into Illinois, where it didn't start snowing until I got in. And then what was supposed to be a 14-hour ride ended up being 18 hours and being stubborn. I was like, I've got to make it.
Oh no.
But like seeing ice trucks for the first time when they're like, oh, like it starts snowing, everybody just stops. They
Oh
ice the roads. It's like,
no.
you guys have a whole system. Like
Yes.
Georgia, Atlanta,
Yeah, yeah,
here
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it starts snowing. Oh, school's done. Like people
Yeah,
start freaking out. You go, it's like, hey, don't even try it. It's got black
right.
ice. You don't know how to navigate on that. You did it
Yeah,
overnight. Do not do it. But someone always
yeah,
gets out there and it's like, car's
yeah.
overturned. That's over there. And it's like,
Yeah, okay, so two stories.
mm,
When I was in Minnesota, some friends from New Orleans came to visit me at Thanksgiving, and they they got a rental car,
Mhm.
and they're like, yeah, there's this weird plastic stick in the back seat somebody left behind, and it's an ice scraper. They had never seen an ice scraper before. I'm like, no, that's like that's a standard operating procedure around Minnesota. Yeah, there's certainly that, and then yeah, the whole like when I moved to Georgia,
Mhm.
the driveways can be so steep in Georgia,
Mhm.
and you would never get that in Minnesota because you would be snowed in and like you would never get out, right? That
Mhm.
you'd be trapped
Yeah.
in your driveway, so that was a shock for me moving south and going, you can get away with a lot more here than you can up north.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I guess with that, it's like, um, what's something like in Minnesota, the elevation is much higher than much of the Midwest. Like you have more mountains and things like that, or is it still
Actually,
flat-ish?
it's glaciated, so it's flat, flat, flat in comparison. But there's a lot of lakes, right?
Right,
Land of
right.
10,000 lakes. So that's what got left
That's right.
behind by the glacier is flat lakes, really heavy river because it's the start of the Mississippi.
Mm,
So yeah, that's
got you.
kind of where it is. You get further north, you get into taconite mining and other kinds of mining area. So it's a little
Mm,
bit different geographic there. But yeah, most of
cool.
Minnesota is flat.
Got you. Okay. I guess so then it stands true. Basically from Minnesota down to uh Louisiana, it's flat. Like it's all you see is cornfields and you drive and it's like I see where I'm going over there and it's like still hadn't got there, but 10, 100 miles. Oh, I think we're getting close. Oh, there's a there's a city in the distance. I see the high rises.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you do have that 14 mile curvature of the earth you can see all the way. That was something when I moved again to move to Georgia, I actually was felt a little claustrophobic because you
Mm,
really can't see any distance
right,
unless you're on a main expressway. It's like all twisty and up and down and yeah, covered with trees too. So you're covered
right.
from above as well as around. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. I guess what was anything different for you, like being in a college family where it's like your dad's at the university in Minnesota, and then the
Uh-huh.
university, you mentioned like how people were really that's why I was mentioning my mom earlier that
Uh-huh.
um a concept that was hard to get is that people are people and it's not just because one place is more developed. It's like you still have
Mhm.
some of the same problems. And like in the same way that people are looked down on over there, where like, oh, you're from the village. So some people will be like, oh, they're
Uh-huh.
from the bush. But like people would ask me things about like Africa in general, where it's like
Right.
I've never like Africa is this gigantic
Huge.
continent. All I know is the capital city of the country in which I live. And it's like
Uh-huh.
that's like saying, okay, if I grew up in Georgia and I've only been in Atlanta, I only know
Uh-huh.
about that. I don't know anything about all the other states. And
Right
then
on.
to just having the concept to be like, okay, you know how there are villages there and you might make
Mhm.
fun of them or be like, oh, they have their ways, they're set in their ways because they like isolated from the population.
Mhm.
Oh, people do the same thing here. So it's like they're
Mhm.
kind of home. What's this? It the Hatfields and McCoy, where it's like they're
Right,
this
sure.
family that kind of goes back and forth, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I get it. I get the story now. But like, I say all that to say, was there anything different from like the college town to the college town going from Minnesota to Ohio, and then the different people you kept interacting with?
Yeah, I'm going to adjust the question a little bit
Okay.
because I also was working at a university in Georgia.
Hmm.
And what I will say what took me by surprise is first, I was uh Ms. Amanda or Ms. Gustafson,
Hmm.
and that's not a northern thing. Like the Ms. and the Mr. what and the sir and ma'am, that's not so much a northern thing. And really, there was an interesting difference in um us respect for authority and a sense of hierarchy is a lot stronger in the South than it is in the North. There's a whole lot of like, question authority and whatever from where I'm from. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, when I was in the South and like, we're going to have an event and so we have to tell a group of students to move,
Mhm.
and I can just go up and say, we gotta have you scoot because there's an event in 10 minutes, and like, yes ma'am, and they pick up and they go. And
Mhm.
like in the North where I was from, there'd be like this little bit of attitude of like, do I like that I noticed was a real difference coming south. Advantage to me being the grown up in the space, but
Gotcha.
it
Hey,
was
that's a good
entertaining.
advantage.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny, like I don't know, maybe I've got to catch it when I go back, but a good professor of mine that taught me soils engineering, Dr. Burns,
Uh-huh.
I interviewed her a little while ago, and you guys seem to have like similar mannerisms. And I know she spent 8 years up in the Virginia area. I think it was like Virginia
Oh,
Tech. She taught there for a couple years, but like
uh-huh.
you're very patient in how you like receive the information, and then like you're deliberate in how you communicate it back. And I'm like, I like that because it gives you that warmth of like, oh, like this person gets me, or like this person is making room to like kind of understand other people. It's like, you're either with me or you're not, kid. Like, hurry it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it gets back to, I think, the advantage that people have when they work with me is
Mhm.
that it's really, you're the hero of the story. It's your business.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi on the side going, Luke, try, use the Force, Luke, right? But it's your quest.
Yeah. Hey, I get that reference. That's a good reference. We can nerd out here.
All
This is
right
a safe
on.
place, so nobody's
Right on.
judging you. It's just you and me.
Right on.
Internet's not real. And so what's it been like for before you got into the entrepreneurship business, and
Uh-huh.
like what's it been like in 2025 for you? Has it been kind of like roller coaster? Like what have been some of the feelings?
Yeah, so it's certainly been a challenge because I like you, I'm all about the people. I'm all about, and sales and marketing is just it's not so much my jam.
Mhm.
Marketing in particular, sales is okay because I'm having a conversation. I'm trying to see if like, what do you need? Can I help
Yeah,
you? This
right,
that's
right.
fun, right? Um, but the marketing part is trickier. So that's been a real learning experience. And right. So actually, yeah, I sent you something for your listeners, and I
Oh,
don't know
that's
if you
right.
have that link or something, but what I do is I give people a 3-day taste of working with me.
Mm.
So if that's of interest, I made one especially for you, space.amandagustafson.com/Asher, so they can check it out. Um,
Awesome.
but yeah, just getting people a chance to really think through what it is that they want to do, where does they're trying to go, because you're the hero, you get to figure it out for yourself, but
I like
sometimes
that.
it's helpful to have somebody show up.
That's so cool. Does it have a time frame on it? Because the way I'm kind of scheduling things out, I'm working in the moment, so to speak, in
Uh-huh.
excitement, and I'm still doing things like record it now
Uh-huh.
and then share it in the order that I record it, one a week. So this will be like January, February time. So like when they listen to it, it'll still be available to them.
I will keep that link open for them, Asher. Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Amanda.
you
And
bet.
um, I got to remember to breathe.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Because I was just thinking, next question is like, no, slow down. Like this is where you can thrive. Um, so like you said, marketing is a challenge for you.
Uh-huh.
And is it a challenge to market to the people you're trying to attract?
Yeah, so my personal network is a lot of soloists, and what I help with is more the group. You've got a team.
Mm.
and you want to be able to make the best use of that team so that you're not doing everything, and also so that, if any key person has to, go, you're
Right.
still okay, right?
Mm.
I was thinking this morning, I don't use the phrase get hit by a bus anymore because I actually had a team member get hit by a bus and killed, and like
Ooh,
truly, like it happened. So, but
took all the fun right out of that
yeah, it takes all the
saying.
fun out of that phrase. Um, but yeah, just making sure that, things can continue, all of those situations. Okay, I'm
Gotcha.
bringing things down, but like,
No, no, you're good.
that's what it's about. Um, so how I do my marketing actually is to partner with people who offer similar, offer different things to the same people. So like
Mm,
they do CFO work or
mm,
or financial work or marketing work for small businesses.
gotcha.
And they're like, okay, so here's Amanda, she does this and I do that, and we can like share
Mm,
each other's stuff and like, boost each other up.
gotcha.
And,
Okay.
again, as a people person, that really
Right.
appeals to me.
That's cool because the thing that's funny, it's kind of top of mind, and I was almost having like an existential moment with like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna overcome the sickness.
What?
Help me, Elizabeth, type thing. But what it kind of motivated me to do this past week was actually dive into the AI prompting.
Uh-huh.
Someone gave me a little bit of help with Gemini,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, okay, I can kind of figure this out. We did a sit down and he was like, hey, you can tell it what to do, but it kept being like real redundant. And I don't know if it's because I was using like the free version. So then I went back to Chat GPT because it's like the first one, kind of like people get excited
Mm-hmm.
about crypto
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
NFTs and this and that. And I was like, okay, I was scrolling through Instagram. I heard someone just, she said it so simply. And I guess, of course, is how her marketing worked and targeted me based on what I like, but she was like, talk to it in the way that you would want it. Tell it, hey, you are this. Act
Mm-hmm.
as if you can do this and do this
Mm-hmm.
for me in this way. And I was like, okay, well, let me give it a try. I want to figure out this podcasting thing. Just been doing it about 6 years, and
Mm-hmm.
there's some things about it that I can get up and do, reach out to someone, like just be proactive, text message, DM, Instagram, LinkedIn, just direct one on one. Hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Are you interested? And
Mm-hmm.
then some people, yes, some people, no. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, hey, I've been fortunate enough to do that. And I was like, okay, well, people like it and I'm putting the time into it. I enjoy it. I feel good afterwards. But then it's like, I'm putting a lot of time into it. I'm putting money into it, not a whole lot, but like slowly improving. Like, got a better mic, got a switchboard to where it's like I can adjust things. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is why people invest in it. But then I was like, how do I actually make this work? And I kept being frustrated about it, but kind of like in being sick, I something in my brain said like ask it in this way, and I just kept prompting it to be like, hey, give me a 90-day strategy, but make it like this. And I use kind of my superpower in being systems thinking and having this analogy that went into my mind of like, they say how many people in a room, how many people do you need to be in a room until two people have the same birthday, so to speak?
Right.
And they're like, oh, is it going to be 100 people or this? And it's like, no, it's not just, it's not like you said for a system, one thing, like one new person in the room doesn't just change, hey, we have one person. It's like one factor presents multiple factors that has an effect on every other thing that's already there. And like
Mm-hmm.
in doing that, it's okay, hey, here's my vision. Here's the website I've already created. Here's the YouTube. Here's the Instagram. Help me bring it together. And it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot that I talked to it over the years and frustrations and kind of got this or kind of got that. But then starting a new prompt and staying in it and staying in it and staying in it, I basically worked through it since I couldn't sleep. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like that's my default. If I can't sleep, I try to be productive. So it's like
Uh-huh.
I can't go to work because I'm basically out sick because otherwise I would get other people sick if I show up there. So
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be home. I can maybe do work from home, but that's like a limited scope. And then I'm kind of getting to the point of diminishing returns. But now I
Uh-huh.
can do my side project, which I usually just do on the weekends or when I have a free minute. And
Mm-hmm.
then as I'm talking to it, it's giving me what I want and it's giving me more than what I want. And I'm like, okay, hey, you're organizing this in the way that I think and you're optimizing it. And then you're doing this and you're doing that. And it's like, okay, well, we're doing this marketing strategy and it's going. And every time I say that is like, my focus was I want to do this mini series for when I traveled to Texas to help with this applique getaway event. And in being there, I was like, well, maybe let me take my handheld recorder. Like I've used it a couple times, but usually I do things like this. But in person, it's like nice to talk to people and actually it's different talking in person, but it's a good muscle to stretch to be like, okay, you're personable,
Mm-hmm.
ask someone respectfully. And it's like it's a different form of conversation where you're there at a convention 5-10 minutes, you get in, you get out, and that's it. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you carry on, you don't kind of like linger this and that. But I was like, okay, hey, how can I do this? Um can I have it sponsored by the person that I went with? And then like basically not like they have to pay me to say they're sponsoring it, but they are sponsoring it in a way because every guest just so happened to be someone that was a student of theirs. And they're like, oh, hey, I know her. I know her. And it's like, okay, well, hey, if I promote it as you're the sponsor and then I show that here's what you do, people can be like, oh, I like these people. Let me find out about her. So then it's like it drives traffic to her. And then
Mm-hmm.
it kind of validates what I'm doing. I was like, okay, that kind of works, but I didn't know how to do that. So I said all that to say I was asking and basically having this conversation and writing it and
Uh-huh.
being able to have that feedback dialogue and go and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, but I don't know about this, but I do see this. Hey, here's a picture of like something that I like. This person's got a
Uh-huh.
rubric, this rubric strategy, and it's just like taking it and molding it and shaping it. And it's like, huh, you gave me a one pager. That's my vision. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I wrote 6 years ago. And I can take back all these notes that I've been over here, storing a
Wow.
little bit here. I read this book, I read that book, and I'm like, I'm just going to put it right here.
Oh,
And maybe a book comes out of it. But to see the tool that you have where you're like, I can
yeah.
give you a taste. And I'm like, that's awesome.
That's neat. That's neat. You know, have you run into the marketing guy Seth Godin? He's
Yes.
fairly well known. No. So, um, he's such a sweetheart. He took his work
Mhm.
and trained Claude and created an
Mm.
artifact
Right.
of his work.
Got
They
you.
it's called This is Strategy, and you can just go and get Seth advice.
Mm.
And he's been doing this. He's got a beta version that I purchased of like a nut like 50 experts. So you can like, what would Marcus Aurelius think about this situation? You can ask Marcus Aurelius. You can ask Martin Luther King Jr. You can ask you know, more modern names like Seth himself
Mhm.
or Donatella Meadows, who's big in systems. I mean, there's all of
Mm.
these wonderful kind of avatars.
Got you.
And I think that's such an entertaining and potentially rich way of using AI to really, get wise perspective on
Right.
something. Yeah, that's fun.
But I just realized I did get sidetracked because, like you said, it's been challenging with marketing. And one
Uh-huh.
question that popped into my head when you were describing the problem of, hey, this person is really an expert in this, but
Mhm.
they do it well when they're here. And when they're not here, they don't, like, nobody can figure it out. And we got to wait for them to come back, or God forbid something happens.
Hmm.
And we got to like scrap everything and start back over, which could
Hmm.
really put us in a bind. Have you found out, or do you find yourself trying to dig into the why they do that and try to like mitigate their behavior or try to communicate to them a reasoning to like why it's helpful for other people to kind of get what they're doing in the way that other people can understand to where they can benefit. Because the reason I ask that is that sometimes I find myself doing it. And when you're in a like doggy dog world, whether it's engineering or something else like that, it's like everybody is kind of seen for their value. So it's like you're
Mm-hmm.
commended for your work and what you can present, what you can show. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're just as good as the next person, the more
Mm-hmm.
information you can kind of hold, the more
Mm-hmm.
valuable you are. So it's like if there's something people can't do, you have job security. But if they
Mm-hmm.
figure out everything that you can do and where people freak out with AI is like, well, the machine can just do it. So all these jobs go away. But then it's
Mm-hmm.
like, it does some things, but then if you change the way you ask questions specifically and you change the way that you think, it's like stop doing repetitive tasks and change your approach to become either a different person or like a version of yourself that gets more into what you want, which goes back to the very first question you asked me before we started recording of like, what's the dream? And I was like, that's a powerful question. And I can actually feel comfortable answering it because I'm like, oh, I'm living it because I can sit back, take stock of what I'm doing. It's a Friday at 1:20 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm recording a podcast with no stress or worry about where I've got to be, who I've got to answer to, because life at this point has kind of freed me up. And I'm like, okay, I've got something right. I didn't think this would be here, but I kind of made a vow to myself that past April 22nd, I didn't want to be, oh, geez, I don't want to do this again. It's like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get rid of that feeling, but I had to be honest about how I could get away from that or get away from myself in that negative way and how I can keep saying I'm getting away from it, but all the while just struggling to fight an uphill battle that I was just losing. And it's like, okay, well, not the subject matter expert in that. The only way that I can practice becoming a subject matter expert is getting help where I'm not good and then using that help to refocus back on what I'm good at to ultimately be living the dream. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
that that kind of works. Maybe I got lucky.
I hear a couple things in that. One is that you have some real aspirations that you're about. And the other is that you have some opinions of who you are. And one of the things that I have learned and thoroughly believe is there's no real way to define a human. Like you are, sometimes you're smart, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're a burden, sometimes you're a blessing, right? This is, all of those things, right?
Yeah.
And that's, we grow up and we believe certain things about ourselves. And none of that is actually relevant to the fact that you want to do something and you take the steps to do it or you don't,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
It gets in the way. It can get in the way, but
Right.
it's not really relevant because you want to live a good life. You want to contribute to the world in a positive way. You want good health. You want good relationships. It doesn't really matter what you think of yourself. You want all those things anyway.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, all of that, you don't have to fix yourself in
Mm.
order to be able to, do all those things that you are hoping to do.
Yeah. And that point right there that you made, that was the one thing that allowed me to receive therapy in like
Mhm.
the coaching aspect because initially when it was mentioned to me, it's like, you got to go get fixed. You got to go get fixed. And I kept
Mm,
feeling like, oh, I'm like a little doggy that's got to be neutered, essentially. It's like,
mm,
I'm a broken little boy. All these things
mhm,
are wrong. And it's like,
mhm,
maybe that's not what was meant, but that's what I was hearing. And in
Yep.
me being a very literal person, definition,
Mhm.
rules based, it's like if that's all I keep getting, and I'm like, I want validation, affirmation, but if all I'm getting is like in this tone, this way, it's like I can't do it. So I'm willing to walk away, but then something was still like, okay, maybe I don't have to get fixed, but I can get help. And in getting help from someone that was able to listen and also pour back in to where it's like, hey, here is who you are. Here's what you have the capacity to do. Here's what you have done. Here's what I see. And
Mhm.
here is let's like dust. Let's brush off all that sadness, that depression, that and
Mhm.
let's set up weekly meetings and do this. And it's like you do all that, it's great. And it's like it feels like going through hell. Like 2021 was an interesting year, but it was a very big growth year for me
Mhm.
because it's like went back home, living at my parents, working a local job, Home Depot, having nothing to do with engineering. They do have an
Mhm.
engineering department, but I had to get
Mhm.
over my ego to be like, if I'm going to get back into the workforce
Mhm.
after the pandemic came and went,
Mhm.
did a stint, and I was like, well, I don't know. They say the world's going to end, so what's the point? Let me
Wow.
just sit back. Like I can sit back in the comfort of my parents' home and enjoy watching YouTube, watching the drama going back and forth for the election. And then it's like, I'm not like, oh, what's the point? Let me end my life. I'm like, no, what's the point? Like, people are at each other's necks. And like, why put myself out there? I've done well enough to save up. I can contribute to my parents' household. I'm not just like a bum. Like, I'm helping, I'm cleaning the house, I'm doing some things. Yes, I'm in the I'm in the basement, but I am being somewhat productive while at the same time stubborn. But then taking the step to apply for the Home Depot job to then um maybe it didn't take the first time and then being like, oh, okay, maybe I can pretend like they didn't answer, so they didn't really want me. It's like, okay, no, a week goes by, 2 week goes by, follow up, and then reapply and be like, okay, got in. Oh, immediately thankfully someone picked up, they're willing to give you the job, it's on the night shift. Again, kind of a blessing in disguise, working the 4 day shift, having a 3 day weekend. It's like, oh, this is nice, but working the night shift is not for the faint of heart, and that first month is rough. But doing that while like having people basically questioning from the time you walk in, they've already looked you up, they know your profile, you're this, you're that. Having doing the podcast, having taken a break from it, and then picking it back up and being like, okay, well, as freaking out was over in Puerto Rico, and then just trying to adjust to all this transition, being like, okay, well, I'm not a complete failure because I went through the counseling, even though when I thought I was going to taper it down, like if you're on a drug and you taper it down, you're like, okay, I want to see if I'm strong enough. I'm working out, I'm eating right, I'm doing this. And it's like all hell breaks loose. And it's like your mind, your body is just used to whatever it's used to and it's responding and you don't know what's going on. And it's like, oh crap. Let me reach back out. And it's like, oh hey, how you been? Like, yeah, we can pick right back up. It's like, oh, you mean I'm not in trouble? No. When you want to meet up, we can do it. Okay. All right. So having like hour-long sessions, 3 hour long sessions, like you go to work, come home, starting having conversation via Zoom where there's maybe no time difference, and then there's a 5 hour difference where my counselor's over in the Middle East, and it's like we're having conversation, but it's like you're talking to your big sister, you're talking to a counselor, you're talking to someone that like gets the picture of where you are because having the same science background, knowing, hey, your personality type is like this, where we come from the motivation. And the big thing was like, you got to grind, you got to work. And it's like, hey, working isn't something that comes difficult for you. You're going to do that anyways, even if you don't want to. When, like I was describing, I can't sleep, I'm sick. What's my first thought? Oh, let's work. Let's chat GPT this thing. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's like, okay, but at some point you got to rest and know that in the rest because you took care of that, like you're better off to do the work. And then instead of doing the same thing where it was like mowing the grass at 14, 15, 16, and then finally being like, oh, okay, I should take this person's advice to go from working outdoors to working indoors because I have the opportunity to citizenship, all that good favor, where somebody else that doesn't green card, they have to do this job until they can get like a technical college degree in that. It's like you get around people that are your peers, start learning how to ask for things, start learning how to find your voice, and then grow into, okay, well, you're respectful in college, working a job, making $11. This person's bragging about, yeah, we get to sleep at work. We're making $14 an hour, AC. And I'm sitting here like, man, I had to call around a dryer can. I got to be inside a boiler. I'm sitting here holding a grinder. It's fun because I'm working on call when I'm not working. I got my time off, get to drive company vehicles. I drive my car that my mom helped me buy, paid her back within the time because you're getting per diem. Never made that before. It's like used to cut grass. Then I worked at the coffee shop, went from making $20 maybe a week to like $6 an hour to $8 to 11 out. And then it's like I'm slowly going up, up, up. And then people are like, oh yeah, we're gonna make 80, we're gonna make six figures, we're gonna do this, do that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like maybe I get 50, 60. It's like bump up, 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 up. Oh wow, like I made six figures. Oh, that you literally meant it just 100. That's six figures. Oh, okay. Like I'm an idiot. You're supposed to be smart. You got Calc 3 degree. You got not the degree, but you took the class, linear algebra, all that, differential equations. But it's like there's the practical aspect of doing life, like you said, and being human and actually being like, hey, this stuff isn't in the textbook. It trains you, but then you be the person, you do the thing. And then when you fail, that's just part of life. It's not over. Just move on. And yeah, when you said that, like, you're not broken, the first time I heard that, that was like, oh, okay. I guess I can't really fail. Like, if there's nothing wrong with me, it's like I get to screw up. I don't have to screw up other people's things, but it's like I can apologize, but I'm not going to sit there and just get like lambasted and be like, here are all the mistakes you made. Here are all the mistakes you made. And I'm like, okay, cool. So you get to point out what I do wrong, but we can't put the shoe on the other foot. Okay, cool, cool, cool. You need anything from me? No? Okay. I'll be over there. I'll be over there. Just you don't need me. No. Yeah. Oh, hey, yeah. Uh-huh. What? Uh, yeah. That's it's tough, man. It's tough. Life be life, and man, it's tough out here.
Uh,
But it's like that. Sometimes I'm trying to do that more rather than
uh-huh.
like getting caught in the web of like, oh, I gotta save you, and then I'm
Yeah.
frustrated for a 2 hour conversation that I couldn't help you with because that wasn't my job.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's why you get paid the big bucks. So
Well,
you got to
yeah.
check out Amanda, and I'll have the link for people to get to it. But I'm gonna turn it back over to you
Oh,
because
thanks. That's just listening to you. I just, mm, you're such a sweet human. I'm so glad to know you.
I feel like that's how we find ourselves. I'm almost using it to be like, I don't know what it resonates, what it is about that person, but it's like you can see it in the other person's eyes where it's like there's a little bit of me over there. It's like I see me. It's like the
Mhm.
did you ever see the movie Zootopia?
I did.
You know
Yeah.
that when they go to the DMV and the yes. That warms my heart, and I hope my roommate, I don't think he listens to this, but recently before coming up here, I thought it was a hilarious joke. Of course, you got the slow people working at the DMV, but it's like one of the greatest people that I met when I went from, hey, you're on top of the world starting over. After I did the Home Depot thing, I took the first opportunity that I got to go help a friend down in South Georgia to do soils engineering. And initially, I had this grand plan where it's like, hey, I'm going to do this. I've been working long distance over here, trying to make the relationship kind of work. It's not really working. I'm going to go over here, get a house, get a this, get a that. But then I didn't really do my math right. And then it's like, um, making my check's paying my rent. Making my check's paying my rent. And it's like, I'm accruing the debt because I didn't take the good advice of keeping your rent like 30% or less if possible, if you want to be frugal, because you can live
Mm-hmm.
comfortably. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're trying to be like, oh, I make enough money to live here, but it's 50% of what I make. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, you had to start over, but you're learning. And then the first opportunity when I was able to move out of there, I moved into like student housing slash professional housing, and is like
Mm-hmm.
a third of what I was paying in rent. So technically, I gave myself a raise because
Mm-hmm.
I almost went the route of like, oh, let me work two jobs. But it's like, kind of doesn't make sense if you're working as an engineer for 40 hours. Now you want to work
Mm-hmm.
harder, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
you worked harder, you made the money, you saved the money, but
Mm-hmm.
it'd be stupid to go back there. And
Mm-hmm.
in circling back to counseling and getting the help from the same person and keeping that history was like, okay, when I get over the shame part of like, here's where I can ask for help, because I feel like I couldn't ask for help because then it would be a judgment on my part, but it's me
Mm-hmm.
judging myself, not them judging me, to say, oh, you're back again because you need help.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you're welcome back to get the help because you're not expected to know everything that are your problems or your blind spots for you to fix.
Mm-hmm.
But I said all that to say part of my being there at that housing complex was I stayed there essentially 2 years of the 3 years I was in the South Georgia area. And, or maybe it's like a year and a half. But like the first part, they run on the student semester schedule. So like school starts in August, so they have the lease run from August to July. So
Mm-hmm.
like first round, I think I moved in November. So November to July, just me and one roommate, three roommates in there. The one guy, he's
Yeah.
he doesn't take social cues as well, but like lets you know what's on his mind. And it's like sometimes it's not appropriate. He goes kind of towards like the matter of fact negative, and it's like, okay, well, we sat through the hurricanes that came there. Like I think what was it, 2023? The first hurricane came where it made landfall in Valdosta, and it was like knocked out trees and everything. They have like really shallow root systems. And at this time, the second roommate came over, which point of the story, he was very much like the DMV sloths, where you would see the light in his eyes. But I was so glad to have him as a roommate, where it was like a good contrast of like, even if it would take him a minute to 5 minutes to respond, and like he
Uh-huh.
would say something or he'd be like, ha, yeah. And then like it would go, I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is how other people see me.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
maybe why they get
entertaining.
frustrated. But I'm like, knowing myself, I'm so
Uh-huh.
happy to be able to converse with him because we align on certain things. He did roofing,
Uh-huh.
I did
Uh-huh.
the engineering, worked in like we're close enough to Florida and things like that. But
Yep.
he had a right around the time the power goes out, hurricanes come through. Thankfully, we're in a good sturdy building on like the third floor. We're sitting around the kitchen table. We got a candle lit. First thing that comes out of my buddy's, I'll just say W. I won't say his name. I don't know
Uh-huh.
his full name, but hopefully he doesn't get offended. Sorry, but yeah, it's my time. but but basically W is like, this is where the looting and rioting starts. And I'm like, really, dude? Like the lights just went out. Like they're gonna restore the power. Where right here in the coast, like Florida, they experience
Yeah.
hurricanes every year. They've got the code red, the things of
Uh-huh.
that. And then
Yep.
we're sitting there, it's like, okay, hey, went to the store before, got kind of the heads up, got
You're
the
fine.
packs of water, got some saltine crackers, things that are not need to be refrigerated, but it's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
let's do our due diligence. Since we're here together, we don't see each other much, we work different schedules. If you're going to get something out of the fridge, just do it sparingly, but eat what's in
Mm-hmm.
there. And then here's extra food. Here's what I can contribute. I'm going to go
Hmm.
to North Georgia or go visit my mom because it's the weekend and there's nothing I can do here. Don't own property, don't need to maintain anything.
Hmm.
So he's got this big old bowl of fruit. Like me and crap, no, I forget his name. Me and the other guy, we're sitting there having a conversation. He's kind of getting his thoughts out and he's sharing, he's telling you about the story. And it's like, oh, cool, that's great. Like I didn't know about roofing, like talking to people, like doing podcasting. But W keeps wanting to interrupt. And he's sitting there at the same time, stuffing his face with pasta. And as soon as I offer the crackers and things like that, he's like, it's like, dude, like you have a bowl this big of pasta that you're eating. Yes, I offered it to everybody, but you're literally stuffing yourself and gorging yourself like you're going to survive. This
Actually,
is,
where are you going with this?
but
You've got a whole lot going on here,
yeah,
man.
I'm sorry. I just it was just funny seeing the dynamics of like what you can show in a cartoon and then
Right.
seeing the dynamics of meeting other people like yourself. That's what I was getting at.
You got
Meeting
it.
other people with yourself, it's easy to see, hey, this is why we enjoy being able to have common company. Thank you for
Hmm.
pulling me in because, yeah,
Hmm.
I was going to go down a rabbit hole and not stop. Thank you for stopping me there.
Uh,
But
uh,
as the year comes to a close, is there anything that you're looking forward to going into the new year? But I guess we don't have to rush that far along if you don't want
yeah.
to.
Yeah. Well, um, you know, what I, one of the things about what I do is helping the business owner really define what it is that is unique about their business, like what it is that is their particular strength, and
Mm,
based on who they serve and what it is that they want to do. And there's a lot of different words for that. Their mission, their niche, their, value proposition. And I've come around to it's their blessing. So I'm like, so right now my goal is to figure out where I can be a blessing to people and help them figure out the blessing that they are
mm,
offering as well. And then build all that structure around it so it can just keep going.
gotcha. I like
Yeah.
that. Is there anything you're looking forward to as the holiday season comes around? Like it's starting to be fall, leaves are changing, pumpkin spices, pumpkin everything's going everywhere.
Yeah, well, I will say, coming from Minnesota, place of very high cold, it
Mhm,
still shocks me when I go outside and I'm not shocked. Like the weather is still so mild. So,
mm.
but I do look forward to the having nice, gentle, cool walks with my dog. That's something
Nice.
I look forward to. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how can people get in touch with you online, offline for your business? And if they can try the taste, but how else can
Yeah.
they follow and see a part of your work?
Yeah, so my website is my name, amandagustafson.com, so you can find me there.
Nice.
And also I spend a little time on LinkedIn, so you can hook up with me there. But really the main thing is if this sounds interesting, try out the sample, take a shot at it. I'm the real thing is to make sure that you get some benefit out of it. And, so that's the point.
Gotcha. And I'll try to drop some timestamps in there so we can kind of skip over my overextended rant. But I do get excited when I meet someone that I connect with and they're able to understand me. And I'm like, okay, well, I grew up as the quiet kid. I've learned to talk a lot more, and now it's harder for me to shut up. But every now and then, it is good to stay on task, be respectful of the time, and then go on from there. Thank you so much for your patience today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You're the thoughtful, thorough type. So when you do open your mouth, you're gonna give us the whole picture. That's the deal. Good for you. All right. Thank
Uh,
you so much for having me, Asher. It's a pleasure.
you're very welcome. It was a pleasure to have you.